came back from the camps, because I didn't go directly to Mars because I didn't know if there was anything there, but I went to a friend of mine who died in the camp. So I went to his parents. I told his parents that I saw him there and he died. Okay.
You were only a little boy.
I was 18 then.
Oh, by then you were 18?
Yeah, I was 18 then when I came back. And so anyway, after that, then I notified my brothers and sisters who were in hiding during the 5 years during the war. And anyway, they were not well treated. So I took them out, took them away from where they were, and I put them in a Jewish orphanage, which was a nice place. But anyway, I was sent on convalescence for a year and a half because I couldn't walk. I only weighed 50 pounds. Well, I was 60 pounds when I went back to Paris because I was in the hospital for.
What was wrong? You couldn't walk?
Couldn't walk. I mean, I didn't have any flesh on my bones, and I was in the hospital in Germany for 6 weeks. So anyway, so I got my brother and sister settled, and then after I felt well enough, then I decided I'm going to get my father's business back. But it was not as easy as you can. Even so, the Germans took it away from him and sold it to other Frenchmen. I had to go to court to get it back. Okay. So, but I was not old enough then, so first I had to go to court to be emancipated. Okay. Then when I was emancipated, I had to go back to court to be appointed the legal guardian of my brothers and sisters, because the youngest one at that time was only 5 years old. Then I had to go back to court and get my father's business back, which I didn't have any problem. I mean, they couldn't refuse to do that. So then I started work. I reopened the shoe factory and the shoe store. He had a shoe store retail, and then we had a small factory. And we were producing. I was producing shoes and selling it. Then I met a friend of my father who used to sell shoes before the war. So when I ran into him, I asked him if he would sell some of our shoes to different stores, because he did a lot of traveling. So he did, okay. But then I decided to come to the United States. And how it happened, I don't know what did he do. Okay, I've got an envelope. This is this envelope. This is the condition that it's been since I found it. And it's dated 1927 from the mark. Okay. So, fortunately,
what is that? Is that
it was a little necklace.
I know, but it's a leather.
So, but I knew my mother had an aunt in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. So I wrote to her to tell her what happened during the war. Okay. And then when she replied to me that her husband had passed away, she was by herself running her business. She had a very good business. But so then I went back to her that we would like to come to the U.S. So her attorney then sent me a letter, said that she would sponsor us, but she would not pay a way or anything. Which I said, that's okay, because I was working, I was earning enough money. So she sent us the paper. I filed with the U.S. Embassy in Paris, and then we got approved 1, 2, 3 because of the condition.
You needed a sponsor to come
Yeah,
back.
right. Not only that, but we got priority because there were 7 orphans actually. So then I made reservations with the Queen Mary, and they told me that I had to pay for the passage by a certain date. Okay. So when the day came, the night before, I went to the bank and I withdrew the money. And of course, they asked me, how do I want it and what denomination? So I said, well, give it to me only 5,000 francs, because then I wouldn't touch such a big part. So they did. The next morning, wake up, headline. Anybody who has a 5,000 francs, it's not good. The bank just wiped it out. Okay? So I acted just like if I didn't know about it. So I took a cab, I went right to the place, the ship line, and on the pay, and to say, well, I'm sorry, but you didn't hear the news this morning? That money is worthless. Okay? So I said, well, I'm supposed to pay for it, but they went, no, good. So they say, all we can do is give you an extension, and by that time you have to pay or your reservation will be voided. So I said, okay, what else can I do?
You couldn't go back to the bank?
Well, the bank, it was the government who did it, not the bank, the government. So a couple of days later, the government said, okay, anybody who lost that money can go back to the bank and exchange, we'll receive 2 bills for each person in the family. So there were 7 of us. So I was able to recover 5,000 francs. Of course, it was nothing, okay? So what I did is I stood on the street and I knew a lot of winos. So I would take them with me to the bank. They done a thing, and when they give the 5,000, I would take it. I would give them a bottle of wine. Okay? And so anyway, I recovered about 80% of my money. Okay? But that was not enough yet to pay for the passage. So my friend who started selling my shoes, I told him, I said, Hilaire, I said, you've got to help me out. First, he had to loan me the money that I needed to pay. So I paid for the first passage. So we were secure then. So I told him, I said, Hilaire, I said, before we leave France, because we still had what I paid in the end of January, we didn't leave until I think the 11th of March. So I said, well, during that time, I'll repay you the money. I said, but you have to help me. I said, I'm going to make all the shoes I manufacture. You have to sell it on the black market or how you want to do it. I don't care. Just sell them. Okay. So he did, and I was able to repay him everything, buy some new tailor-made clothes for me and my family, and then we left on, I think it was the 11th of March. Okay. So here's a picture of us on the Queen Mary.